Hilchos Talmud Torah, Perek Shlishi, the third chapter of the laws of Torah study. Torah is very connected to the number 3. Hagemara Omeret, Uriyan Tlitai, the Torah of thirds that has 3 parts. Torah Nevi'im Ketuvim was given La'am Tlitai, to a nation of thirds. Kohanim Levi'im Yisraelim. Through the third, Moshe Rabbeinu was the third born child, and he was from the third tribe of Levi. On the third day of separation, the many thirds that are connected to the Torah. And the Rebbe says that's why in this chapter, the third chapter of the Talmud Torah, the Rambam chose to put all the great stuff about learning Torah. We're going to learn many, many ma'alot, many tremendous, tremendous advantages about learning Torah. And they're all in chapter 3 because Torah is a Torah of thirds. It says the Rambam, Bishlosha Ktarim Nichtaru Yisrael. The Jewish people were crowned with 3 crowns. Keter Torah, Beketer Kehuna, Beketer Malchut. The crown of Torah, the crown of Kehuna, being a priest, and the crown of kingship. Keter Kehuna, the crown of Kehuna, Zachabo Aharon. Aharon merited to get that crown, and it went to his children forevermore. The Rebbe says that a crown means that it becomes part of who you are. It gets into your blood and you can never change it. It gets into your DNA. Kehuna went into Aaron's DNA and his children. Shene'emar, as it says by Pinchas, V'hayetal lo ulezar'o acharav, for him and for all his children afterwards, it will be Brit Kehunat Olam. Hashem is putting in a treaty of priesthood forever. Keter Malchut, the crown of kingship. Whose DNA did that go into? The DNA of David. Zachabo David. There was kings before David. But the DNA of kingship, that it should become theirs forevermore, and into their blood, that's only in David HaMelech. Shene'emar zar'o le'olam yiyeh. His children will be forever, they'll continue forever. V'kis'o kashemesh negdi. And his chair, the throne of kingship, will be like the sun opposite me. Sun lasts forever. The kingship of David will last forever. Keter Torah, the crown of Torah, though, is very unusual. Nobody specific got the DNA of the Torah. Harei munach ve'omed u'muchan l'chol Yisrael. It's there, it's standing, and it's ready for every Jew. At Matan Torah, every Jew's DNA became interconnected, intertwined with the Torah. However, we have to now do something about it. Shene'emar, it says in the pasuk, Torah tzivalanu Moshe, the Torah which Moshe commanded us, Morasha Kilat Yaakov, is an inheritance to the entire congregation of Yaakov. And we use the word inheritance, like a child who's, if he's 1 day old and his father passes away, he inherits the whole estate. Nothing about you earns inheritance. You're a kid, you get the inheritance. You're a Jew, Torah is part of you. But then, Kol mi sheyirtzeh yavo v'yitol. Whoever wants can come and take the crown. And we're going to see there's a couple of things you have to do in order to take this crown of Torah, in order to make that Torah should become part and parcel of who you are. But now the Rambam adds, Shema Tomar, maybe you're going to think, She'otam haktarim gdolim miketer Torah, that the other crowns, kingship and kahuna, maybe they're greater than the crown of Torah. Harehu Omer, therefore the verse says, Bi melachim yimlochu. Kings rule by me. It means through the Torah. V'roznim yichokeku tzedek, and princes make laws of justice. Bi sarim yasoru. Only through me, through the Torah, do ministers minister. Halamadata sheketer Torah gadol mishnehem. Here we learn that the crown of Torah is greater than both of them. The Rebbe explains it's not just greater if you have 3 on a line, this one's the greatest one. The Torah actually dictates Kehuna and Malchus. Who decides who's a Kohen? Who decides who's a king? The Torah. If you don't follow the Torah's laws of a Kohen, you're no longer a Kohen. Right? If a Kohen marries somebody he can't marry, the kid becomes a halal, and now he's not a Kohen. If the person doesn't fit the criteria of a Jewish king, he can't be a king. So the Torah's crown actually dictates who is the Kahuna crown, who is the Keser, who is the Malchus crown. And now the Rambam adds in a separate halacha. Amru Chachamim, halacha bet. The sages said, Mamzer Talmid Chacham. You can have a Mamzer, somebody that was born from a forbidden union, but he's a wise man, he studies the Torah. Kodem lekohen gadol am haaretz. He takes precedence, he comes before the high priest, if he's not learned, if he's an am haaretz. Oh, it happened plenty of times. Unfortunately, the Bebayit Sheni, it was up for sale. People used to just buy it, and it was a Kohen Gadol Amaretz. But here you have Talmid Chacham, person learns Torah, tainted lineage, but he comes before the Kohen Gadol. Shene'emar, as it says, Yikara hi mipninim. Torah is more precious than jewels. Mipninim means jewels, but the sages explained, Mi Kohen Gadol shenichnas lifnai v'lifnim. He's more precious than the Kohen Gadol who goes, pninim means inner. The Kohen Gadol goes into the Holy of Holies. Torah is greater than that. It sounds like another proof that Torah is greater than everything. So even though it seems like this halacha is just another proof that Torah is greater than everything, the Rebbe explains when the Rambam puts something in a separate halacha, he's bringing out an additional point. So the Rebbe says, what's the additional point over here? That Torah puts you in a different league. So long as you have a question whether Torah is greater than other things, that means that Torah is in the same league, and you're just saying that Torah is greater. Here in this halacha, we see how Torah puts you in a completely different ballgame. Here you have a Kohen Gadol who goes into the most holy place. Nobody else goes into the Kodesh HaKodashim. He's the greatest. But he's only a minister going in to visit the king. When you learn Torah, even if you're the lowest of the low, a mamzer, you can't marry a Jew, illegitimate son. But you learn Torah, you come first. Here, that's a good question. The Rambam doesn't say Kodem Lama. Later on in a different book, the Rambam will tell us what it is. He takes precedence. If they're both in captivity, you redeem the Talmid Chacham first. If they both need clothes, you give tzedakah to the Talmid Chacham first. Here the Rambam doesn't say what the Kedima is because he wants to bring out the Etzem Kedima. See how great Torah can make you. You can be a mamzer and Torah will lift you to the level higher than a Kohen Gadol, makes you what's called in Chassidus, connected to the king himself. You become part of the king himself. This is a Mishnah. Mamzer Talmid Chacham, it's a Mishnah by Masechet Horiyot. Halacha Gimel. Ein lecha mitzvah b'chol mitzvot kulan. There is no mitzvah among all the mitzvahs. Shehi shkula keneged Talmud Torah, which is equal in value to learning Torah. Ella, rather, it's the opposite. Talmud Torah keneged kol mitzvot kulan. Learning Torah is corresponding to or has the same value as all the mitzvahs put together. Sheha Talmud mevi l'dei ma'aseh. It makes sense because only learning gets you to do the deeds properly. Lefichach Talmud kodem l'ma'aseh b'chol makom. Therefore, learning comes before mitzvahs. Every time you have an opportunity to learn or do a mitzvah, studying comes first, as we see now in Halacha Dalet. Hayal efanav asiyat mitzvah v'talmud Torah. A person has in front of him an opportunity to do a mitzvah and learn Torah. Im efshar la mitzvah lehe'asot al yedei achirim. If it's possible for the mitzvah to be done through somebody else, lo yafsik talmudo. You're not allowed to stop your learning. V'im lav, only if not, yaseh mitzvah v'yachzor talmudo. Do the mitzvah and go back to learning. But even then, it's not because mitzvahs are greater. It's just because the Torah says if you learn without the intention of doing, better you should never have been born. So if you have a mitzvah that nobody else can do, you must do the mitzvah. But in essence, what's greater inherently? Torah is always greater. Talmud kodem la'maseh. Talmud mevile de maseh. It brings us to action. Says the Rambam even further, halacha hey, tchilat dino shel adam. The beginning of a person's judgment when he comes upstairs after 120 years of life, eino nidon ela al Talmud. He is only judged first about learning, va'achar kach al sha'ar ma'asav, and only afterwards about all his other actions. We're pretty familiar. There's a Gemara that says that when you come upstairs, they ask you, nasata v'natata be'emunah. Did you do business faithfully? That's the first question. Here it says Torah is the first. So Tosfos explains that here we're talking about dino. Your first question may be about business, but the first judgment that takes place, the first time they check the accounting books, that's going to be about Talmud Torah. And therefore, says the Rambam, lefichach, amru chachamim. Therefore, our sages said, le'olam ya'asok adam b'Torah. Every opportunity that you have, you should deal in learning Torah. Bein lishma, bein shalo lishma. Whether you're doing it for the right reasons, for its sake, whether you're not doing it for the right reasons, doesn't matter. Learn more. Shemitoch shalo lishma, ba lishma. Because from doing it for the wrong reasons, ultimately you'll come to do it for the right reasons. And as Chassidus explains, mitoch means inside. The inside of the Shalol Lishma is Lishma. Every Jew, when he learns Torah, because his neshama is connected to God, even when it looks like he's doing it for the wrong reasons, the mitoch, the inside of the Shalol Lishma, is really Lishma. It's really he's doing it for the right reasons, and that's why you want to have as many Torah checks as you can on your accounting books, because when you come upstairs, that's the first din. Now says the Rambam halacha vav, mishen nisa'oli bo lekayem mitzvah zu karaui. A person, his heart lifted him, his heart inspired him to do this mitzvah properly. He wants to get the crown. V'liyot muchtar beketer Torah. He wants to be crowned with the crown of Torah. The Rambam is going to give us three things a person that wants the crown of Torah has to do. And again, the crown of Torah means showing that Torah became literally part of who you are. We can all learn Torah, but it's not who we are. The person who wants the crown of Torah, he wants to do some things that are going to make Torah literally a part of him. The first condition is, lo yasiach da'ato lidvarim achirim. You cannot divert your mind to other things. Of course you can't do other things, but you can't even divert your mind. You can't even entertain thoughts of other things. V'lo yasim al libo, never take to heart or never imagine sheyiknet Torah im ha'osher v'ha'kavod ke'achat. That you could have Torah together with riches and honor as one. The Talmud calls this Torah u'gdula b'makom echad. It's very rare. We had very few people in history that got the merit of having Torah and physical wealth and greatness. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, it says about him, Torah u'gdula b'makom echad. And some people, even today's generation, I think Rabbi Weiss's father has a story where he wanted from the Rebbe a blessing for Torah u'gdula b'makom echad, to have both Torah and greatness. And the Rebbe said, I think it was connected to growing a beard. If he grew a beard, that was going to be the vehicle for blessing. But typically, if you want the Torah's crown, you can't imagine that's the way it's going to go. Torah is going to come for you with riches. No, Torah is a Torah life totally devoted to that. Kach hi darka shel Torah. This is the way of Torah study. Pat b'melach tochel. Eat bread with salt, very little food. Umayim b'misurat tishteh. And you drink water in little measures. V'al ha'aretz tishan. You may have to sleep on the floor. V'chayei tzar tichyeh. And live a life of pain. Uba Torah ata amel. And you're always toiling in the Torah. And you know that lo alecha hadavar ligmor. It's not on you to finish. Just look how many books there are in this shul, and how many books are printed on Torah. It takes 15 lifetimes to read whatever there is on the Torah, and probably more. You don't have to finish the job. But v'lo ata ben chorin li batel mimena. You're not free to sit and do nothing. You have to do what you can. V'im hirbeta Torah, hirbeta sachar. The more Torah you learn, the more reward you get. V'hasachar lefi atzar, and the reward doesn't go according to how many pages you turned. Oh, I turned 40 pages, now I get 40 rewards. The reward goes according to the pain. In other words, according to your investment. If one person, it takes very easy to learn 3 pages of Gemara, and the other person takes some very hard effort to learn 10 lines, the person who learned 10 lines and put in more tsar, more pain, he gets more reward. So that's the first thing to get the Keter Torah. You have to know nothing else should be on your mind. Not even an action, even on your mind. What if a person says, Halacha Zayin, I'm going to use my mind for other things, but it's going to be with a Torah goal? Maybe that's not called moving my mind. Shema Tomar, maybe I'm going to say, Ad shek botz mamon echzor ve'ekra. I want to learn Torah. I really want to learn. I just need to pay my rent. So I'm going to go and do some work. I'll gather some money, and then I'll go back to learn. So in this case, his work is actually part of learning Torah, because it's a stepping stone. He wants to go make money only for the purpose to come back and learn Torah. The Rebbe actually says, he says, echzor ve'ekra. He just wants to come back to review his learning. He already learned the whole Torah. He did it all. And I wants to go a little business just to come back to learn. Or, ad she'ekneh ma she'ani tzarich. Let me go buy what I need. Ve'epaneh me'asakai. Then I'll be clear of my business. Ve'echzor ve'ekra. And I'll come back and learn. So this seems to be a holy thought. Says the Rambam, im ta'aleh machshava zu al libcha. If this thought enters your heart, enters your mind, ein ata zocher lekitra shel Torah le'olam. You will never be able to merit the crown of Torah forever. Even in your mind, you can never make work an ikar. You can never make it a mainstay. It's always something temporary. Make your Torah what's set, and your business that which is temporary. V'lo tomar, never say lichshe paneh eshne or lichshe efne eshne. When I'm free, I'll learn. Shema lo tipaneh. Perhaps you'll never become free. What about a person who has to work? What about a person who most of his day is occupied in business?
The priority should be on Torah.
Says Chassidus, Toratcha Keva, you can make Torah set in your mind, in your heart. You may only have 2 hours a day to learn, 2 minutes a day to learn. But those 2 minutes, nobody can disturb you. Those 2 minutes, your entire life is there. Toratcha Keva. Rabbi Weiss once said a story that there was 2 people, one rabbi and one simple guy, and they both had children. The son of the rabbi ended up not staying in the world of Torah, and the son of the simple person ended up becoming a great rabbi. So they asked him what happened. So the son of the rabbi said, my father used to learn Torah all day. He was a rabbi all day. But then finally, at the end of the day, when he came home, he would sit down on the couch, kick back, and say, finally a break from all of my rabbinic duties. So the son saw that for the rabbi, the whole thing was a burden, and in the end, it was a job he wanted to kick back. The son of the simple guy said, my father used to work all day. He would come home, and then for 5 minutes, he would pull out a Torah book. He'd say, finally a chance to study some Torah. And then he would fall asleep with the book because he was so tired. The book would just be on his chest. He wouldn't even learn. But he said, seeing that from my father, that the main thing for him, Toratcha Keva, he may have been working time-wise most of the day. But in his head, Toratcha Keva, that's what made his son see that inspiration, that Torah became who he was. Halacha Ches. Katuv b'Torah. It says in the Torah, Lo b'shamayim hi, v'lo me'ever layam hi. Torah is not in the heaven, Torah is not overseas. Now, you could look at it literally, like Torah is not in the heaven or overseas, but of course Torah is everywhere. So what do you mean it's not in the heavens or in the overseas? Said the sages, Lo b'shamayim hi, it's not in the heavens. Lo begasei haruach hi mitzuya. You cannot find the Torah by those who hold themselves high, like the heavens. The lo b'mahalchei me'ever layam hi. It's also not in those who are always on a cruise. They're always taking a ship somewhere, they're always going for business somewhere, they're always taking a business trip. These people are not going to succeed in having the Torah. Lefichach amru chachamim. Therefore our sages said, Lo kol hamarbe b'schora machkim. Not every person who increases in business becomes wise. V'tzivu chachamim, and our sages also commanded, Hevei mema'et be'esek va'asok b'torah. Lessen the business, deal more in Torah. Halacha tez divrei Torah nimshalu kamayim. Here's another thing about haughtiness. Torah is compared to water. Shene'emar hoi kol tzamei l'chul hamayim. Yeshaya Navi said, Oi, whoa, everybody who's thirsty, go to the water. And he was referring to Torah. Lomar lecha, what's the mashal of water? Why is Torah compared to water out of everything? Ma mayim einam mitkantzin bimkom midron. Look at water. Water never gathers in a slant. You have a slanted place, the water will never stay. Elan yizchalin me'alav, they drip from the diagonal. Umitkabtzim bimkom ashboren, and they gather in what's called a stagnant place, a place that can hold the water. That's what the water will drip to. Kach divrei Torah, so to Torah study, Torah words, einam nimtzaim b'gasei aruach. They will not be found in those who are haughty, v'lo b'lev kol gvalev, and not in the hearts of those who have a high heart. Ela b'daka ushval ruach. Only in those who are humble and low of spirit. Bring the Torah down to the ashboren. And what's a person? What's a sign that he's humble? Shemit abek ba'afar raglei chachamim. He rolls around in the dust of the feet of the sages. In other words, he spends time around those who are fluent in Torah. He also removes all lusts and all pleasures of time, just temporary stuff, from his heart. He does do work, a little bit for what he needs to work, for what he needs to live. If he didn't have what to eat. The rest of the day, the rest of the night, he learns Torah. And the Rambam adds that point of you have to do work, because Halacha Yud, he says, Kol hamisim al libo. Anybody who takes to heart, anybody who imagines, sheyasok b'Torah, he's going to learn Torah. V'lo yasem malacha. I don't need a job. Let me learn Torah. Jewish community is very nice. V'yitparnes min hatzdaka. I'm going to get parnasa from tzedakah. He purposely relies on charity. That's actually no way to learn. In fact, harei zeh chilel et Hashem. That's a person who desecrates Hashem's name. Ubaza or biza et haTorah. He embarrasses the Torah. V'chiba ma'or hadat. He's extinguishing the flame of our religion. V'garam ra'ala atzmo. Causes bad to himself. V'natal chayav min ha'olam haba. And takes his life away from olam haba. Lefi she'asur lehanot midivrei Torah ba'olam hazeh. Because it's forbidden to have pleasure from words of Torah in this world. Amru chachamim, said our sages. Kol ha'ne'eneh midivrei Torah. If a person purposely has pleasure from his Torah study, natal chayav min ha'olam. He removes his life from the world. V'od sivu v'amru, they further commanded and said, Al ta'asem atara lidgadel bahem. Do not make the Torah into a crown to become great through them. V'lo kardom lachpor bahem. Don't make them into an axe that you dig with. Torah is for Torah, not a way to make you money. V'od sivu v'amru, they further commanded and said, Ehab et hamlacha usna et harabanut. You should love doing work, a little bit that you have to do. And you should hate this concept of rabbanut, being in a rabbinic position that makes you, on the level, on the pedestal, and people pay you for that. Any Torah which doesn't come along with work, sofa b'teila v'goreret avon. In the end, it will be cancelled, it will stop, and it will cause you to sin. V'sof adam zeh, says the Rambam. The future, the end of this person is sheyehei malastem et habriot. He will end up stealing from other people, because Torah cannot be made at Torah. Today we have many people that do this, seemingly. They study Torah, they're in kollel all day, they Torah Tom, and they get supported, they get dividends. But they're not saying that I'm going to make money off the Torah. They're saying, I want to be a person who's dedicated to Torah. And there are people in our community who believe that's important. And they put out their money to support such things. So for them, that's the greatest thing. Torah Tom, Nato, he makes Torah his business because he wants to do it. He has people supporting him. What could be better than that? Halacha Yud Aleph. It's a wonderful advantage. It's a tremendous thing for a person to achieve parnasah from his own handiwork. It was the way of the early sages, the early pious people. In fact, 2 days ago, the Rambam said there were Gdolei Torah who were wood choppers and water carriers. They did this stuff for a living. And through that you merit every honor and every good in this world and the next. It says in Tehillim, if you eat the work of your hands, ashrecha v'tov lach. Fortunate are you, and it will be good for you. The double expression is ashrecha ba'olam hazeh v'tov lach la'olam haba shekulo tov. Fortunate are you in this world, and it will be good for you in the next world, which is all good. Notice that the verse says yigi'a kapecha. Has to be work of your hands, not yigi'a roshcha, not the work of your head. If your head is all involved in the business, that's no good. You do it with your hands. It's an external thing. You're doing what you have to do. But your head is in the Torah.
Like we have today, so most people work with their hands.
That's true. On the literal sense, it was literally manual labor. That was all we had. But symbolically, it tells us how we have to approach work. Halacha Yud Bet. Ein divrei Torah mitkaimin. The words of Torah do not last. B'misha marpeh atzmo alehen. With somebody who makes himself weak over them. It gets too hard, now you back off. V'lo be'elo shalomdin. Neither with those that learn mitoch idun, in a state of delight, or mitoch achila u'shtiyah, and while eating and drinking. The guy's sipping a Coke, and he's eating pizza.
Danish.
And then he's having a Danish and some cookies. Look at us over here, achila u'shtiyah. Halavai. If this was a good breakfast, then we'd have something to say. Ela b'misha memit atzmo alehen. Only Torah exists and has continuity for somebody who literally kills himself over it. U'mitza'er gufo tamid. He pains his body constantly. V'lo yiten shena le'enav. He doesn't give sleep to his eyes, u'la'afapav tunuma, nor slumber to his eyelids. Amru chachamim derech remez. Said our sages by way of hint, by way of allegory. It says in the verse, Zot haTorah Adam ki yamut be'ohel. This is the law of a person who dies in a tent. Literally, it's talking about corpse tumah. A person passes away, you can't be in the same room as him. But the sages said, Zot haTorah. You want to know who gets the Torah? Adam ki yamut be'ohel. A person who dies, he kills himself for it. Ein haTorah mitkayemet ela b'mi shememit atzmo be'ohalei chachamim. Torah only exists, Torah only lasts by a person who kills himself in the tents of the sages. V'chen amar Shlomo b'chokhmato, said Shlomo HaMelech in his wisdom, hitrapita b'yom tzara. If you weaken yourself on the day of trouble, when push comes to shove, and you put your hands up, tzara kochecha, you can know your strength is small. The Torah is not going to last by you. V'od amar, furthermore, he said, af chokhmati amdali. Literally, it means, also, af, even, my wisdom remained with me. Says Shlomo HaMelech, chokhmah shelamadeti be'af. The wisdom that I learned in anger, hi amdali. That's what stood for me. When all was going easy and all was going good, fine. But when I didn't understand and I didn't get it, and my teacher is screaming at me and trying to explain it to me, and I was angry, and then I pushed through, the Torah that I learned then, that's what stayed with me. Amru chachamim. Easy come, easy go. Hard come, hard go. Typically. Some people suffer from it's hard to learn, but it's also easy to forget. But typically, if you learn ba'af, it stands with you. Amru chachamim, said our sages, brit kruta. Hashem has made a treaty, a promise. Shekol hayageh b'torato b'beit hamidrash. A person who learns, who toils, he works hard in his Torah study in a beit midrash, in a study hall. Lo b'mehirahu mishakeach. He doesn't forget quickly. V'chol hayageh b'talmudo b'tzin'ah. Anybody who toils in his learning quietly, modestly, he's not making a big show out of it. Machkim, he becomes wise. Shene'emar ve'etznuim chokhmah. With the modest can be found wisdom. A person who lets his voice be heard when he learns, you learn audibly with a sound. Your learning lasts in your hand. But if you read quietly, you just scan with your eyes, and you don't say the words, you will find yourself forgetting very quickly. And now we have one more piece of advice for somebody who wants to get the Keter HaTorah, the Crown of Torah. Afal piece says the Rambam, the final halacha. Yud Gimel. Even though shemitzvah lilmod bayom u'balayla, it's a mitzvah to learn by day and by night. We saw this a few times already. V'hagita bo yomam balayla. Ein adam lomed rov chokhmato ela balayla. A person only learns most of his wisdom by night. Wisdom means, in other words, the deep understanding, the capacity to understand things deeply comes by night. Lefichach, therefore, misha ratzah lizkot beketer HaTorah. A person who wants to have the crown of Torah, a person who wants to drown himself in Torah, Torah shall become who he is. Knowing the quality of nighttime, yizaher b'chol lelotav. He should be careful about every night. V'lo ya'abed afilu echad mehen. Don't even destroy one of them. B'shina, v'achila, u'shtiyah, v'sicha, v'chayotzei bahen. Sleeping, eating, drinking, talking, and other things. Ella b'talmud Torah v'divrei chokhmah. He should learn Torah and words of wisdom. Rambam doesn't mean words of wisdom, other wisdoms. He means pardes, the deepest parts of Torah, the mystical parts of Torah, the parts of the first 4 chapters of this book, learning about Hashem and His angels, Chokhmah. The Arizal says that the main learning that a person should do at night should be ba'agadah or b'chokhmat ha'emet, in homiletics and in the wisdom of truth. So that's what the person should do as well. Amru Chachamim, said the sages, Ein rina shel Torah, ella balayla, the song of Torah, pnimiyut Torah, the inner dimensions of Torah come only by night. Shene'emar kumi roni valayla, get up and sing at night. That means the part of the Torah that's called a song. The chol ha'osek b'Torah balayla, anybody who learns Torah at night, chut shel chesed nimshach alav bayom, a string of kindness gets drawn upon him by day. Shene'emar yomam yitzaveh Hashem chazdo, by day Hashem commands His kindness over who? Over those ubalayla shiro imi, those who their song was with me. By night, tefillah lekel chayai, those who were giving a tefillah to the God of my life. By night you learn Torah, you get chesed by day. On the other hand, says the Rambam, b'chol bayit, any house she'en nishma'im bo divrei Torah balayla, that there's no Torah words heard in it by night, eish ochalto, fire will consume it. Shene'emar, as it says in the pasuk in Iyov, kol choshech tamun litzfunav, any time when darkness is hidden from his treasures, which means if nighttime is hidden from Torah, you don't learn God's treasures by night, ta'achlehu eish lo nupach, a fire that doesn't need to be fanned. A very extreme fire will eat it up. Kidvar Hashem bazah, as the Torah says, He has embarrassed the word of God. Who embarrasses the word of God? Zeh shelo hishgiach al divrei Torah kol ikar. That's a person who doesn't even pay attention to any words of Torah. And similarly, kol she'efshar lo la'asok b'Torah ve'eino osek. Anybody who has an opportunity to learn Torah and he does not learn, or he did learn. This is the most tragic. He learned Mikra, he learned Mishnah, he learned the Torah, and he learned the Mishnah, Parash, Lahavlei ha'olam, and then he separates and goes off to the nothingness's, to the vanities of the world. V'hiniach talmudo uznacho, leaving his learning. Uznacho means like totally ignoring it. It's not a man who learned in yeshiva and then had to go make a living. He purposely went away. He was mazniach. He rejected the Torah learning. Hareze bichlal bozed var Hashem. He is included in he who has embarrassed the word of Hashem. Amru Chachamim, said the sages, Kol ha'mevatel et Torah me'osher, a person who in his state of richness cancels the Torah, sofo levatla me'oni. In the end, he will find himself canceling the Torah in a state of poverty. On the other hand, v'chol ha'mekayem et Torah me'oni, a person who finds himself fulfilling the Torah in a state of poverty, sofo lekayma me'osher, in the end will find himself fulfilling it in a state of riches. V'inyan zeh mifurashu b'Torah. Both of these sides of the coin are clear in the Torah. On the one end, it says, Harehu Omer, it says in the pasuk, Tachat asher lo avadat et Hashem Elokecha b'simcha v'tuv levav mirov kol. Since you did not serve Hashem, your God, with happiness and joyfulness. When you had a lot, ve'avadat oivecha, therefore you're going to serve your enemies. When you had riches, you didn't learn Torah, you're going to find yourself serving your enemies learning Torah. Ve'omer, on the other hand, it says, Leman anotcha, sometimes Hashem gives you pain, and if you stay with it, He will give you good in the end, and you will find yourself being mekayem et Torah from a state of osher, from a state of riches.